What's up, guys? It's Dominique, aka That Therapist. One of my nails broke, so I'm only doing one hand tonight. I'm with Yellowbird Counseling. I'm the lead clinician and CEO. For those of you that don't know us, we are a group practice based out of Birmingham, Alabama. We service the whole state of Alabama. Also, we service Mississippi and Louisiana, and soon to come, Georgia and New Jersey. And so, if you're in any of those states and you're looking for individual, couples, family, group, child, adolescent, teenager, young adult, counseling, or therapy, we got y'all. We definitely got y'all. Y'all, okay, I got my hair done, so I'm kind of like on one because I really love my hair, y'all. She slayed. Y'all remember when Star was on and she was getting her hair done? That's who did my girl. Y'all can't tell me nothing about these luscious locks I got. Because I think everything went down. See, self-care. If I take care of myself, then I could be better for my people. That's why self-care is important. You cannot pour from an empty cup, okay? So that's what we do. But what does that mean for those of you here on social media right now? Well, we also, in an effort to break the stigma that surrounds mental health and wellness and mental illness and receiving mental health treatment, because there's such a, oh my God, I can't go see a therapist, nothing's wrong with me. Since there's such a stigma around it, we do live topics every Thursday evening, all right, on topics that the general population can relate to and tie it back to how all of us, me included, can use a therapist outside of simply just having a mental illness. Because people think, oh, in order for me to have a therapist, I have to also have a mental illness. Not true. Or, something has to be wrong with me in order for me to go to therapy. Also not true. So, guess what? We are going to continue to do that. And tonight, in honor of Domestic Violence Awareness Month, we got y'all. And also, I got some guests. I got definitely a guest. I'll definitely check on the other guests. But y'all know how much I love the fellow Yellowbird Ambassador therapist. So, of course, one of your favorites is back. She wanted to do this discussion, so guess what? I'm gonna bring her on.
Hi, good afternoon.
Hey, girl, hey!
Hey.
What you up to?
I mean, well, I feel like I should have put some earrings on or something.
No, so they better not be expecting this all the time. This is my 6:30 had canceled, so I was like killing some time. And so I had got my hair done, so I was like, let me play in some makeup. It was really just, girl, you know I don't do this.
You should have told me, because I could have. Oh, wait, I might have put some earrings on really quick.
Hey, you can totally do your face while we're on here.
I'm not equipped for that. I have Dove lotion. I have some Skin So Soft. I have nail polish remover, pairs of scissors. I have dip powder. Now I can do my nails on here.
Hey, see,
show people how to do some dip powders.
You know they be doing that, talking about topics and doing their hair, their makeup, their nails. I think you could definitely, and we could watch you do the dip powder. It's super therapeutic.
I got a whole container of earrings on the floor by me and like a big 10. I'm not even gonna do it. I'm gonna be my authentic self because my rings are in my purse downstairs, and I I think my mother is oozing out of my pores right now because in true social work form, one earring came out earlier today and the other one just followed suit. And so now I'm bare-eared, but that's okay.
I'm usually bare-eared all the time. Literally, I was like, maybe I should put on some bigger ones, and I had forgot. So whatever.
So good. It's so good. I'm just glad to be here.
Yay! How you doing today?
I feel pretty good. I do. I am
Good.
counting down to my birthday.
Oh, when is your birthday?
My birthday is next Saturday. I'm going to be 35.
Oh my God, your birthday. Wait, what day is that?
The 22nd.
Oh my gosh, are you a Scorpio?
Some days.
Yeah, that explains a lot.
No.
I'm a Scorpio too.
Well, most days I'm a Libra. I don't bother nobody. Okay? Let's just be clear. I don't bother
Some
nobody.
things, not all things, some things.
I don't bother nobody. I am the balance everyone needs in their life.
Yes. Yes, this is true. This
Mhm.
is a true statement. So yes.
Yes.
Well, so tell us like, because they may not know, but every month we have group supervision, and a lot of times that includes like, what does the community need? What does our internet community need? What does the physical community around us, IRL need? Wait, IR in real life, yeah, need. And so Jennifer was like, domestic violence. So tell us what sparked that idea to let's talk about that.
Well, first of all, I do want to say thank you to everyone putting the happy birthday comments in. I have the live on my phone, so I'm trying to like be high tech and multitask. So thank y'all. But what drew my attention and what made me want to become the speaker for this evening about this topic is because it is one that not only have I worked with this population, not only have I worked with on a professional level, but it also hits like close to home just because of some things that have happened in family, things I know about friends. And honestly, it's not okay. It's just not. And so I know October has a month full of awarenesses about breast cancer, lupus, almost like you name it. It's awareness month for the month of October, but it's rare that I really see any dialogue going on in this month about domestic violence. When I was actually still in school at University of Montevallo, I you got to be crazy. But on the campus, as a part of Gamma Pi Delta, we did an event targeted at bringing awareness to domestic violence, and we did a candlelight vigil, and I think we had purple ribbons tied around the candles, and it was a small event, but it was impactful. And so every year, every October, aside from getting excited for my birthday and Halloween, and all the fun stuff in the fall and all the leaves changing colors and the heat going away. I'm very, very
That season.
Yes. Yes, ma'am. But I'm very passionate about this particular topic. And so I thought about like wearing a purple shirt. But I was like, you know what? That's okay. But if I had a purple shirt on, I would say I wear purple for my mom. Because she was a victim of domestic violence. But thankfully, that chapter of her life is over. But that doesn't mean that it did not leave an impact or make an impression. And so that's kind of what I wanted to talk about today, and just bring some general awareness to this subject that seems a little bit taboo, and that many people go through and nobody ever really knows about it. So,
yeah, please
mm-hmm.
talk to us. Tell us. Make us know.
I'll start with a little bit of a story. Okay. So a little bit of a story is this. I think that before we start to talk about the people who hurt people, part of domestic violence, I think we should also keep in mind too about the people who are affected secondary to the domestic violence. So this starts my story. So around the age of 5 years old, I remember vividly, almost 30 years later, an incident that occurred in my own home. It was just me and my mom at the house by ourselves, and the guy my mom was dating at the time came home. I didn't know the man was on drugs. I had no clue of those things when I was 5, but I just knew he was violent. And so one day I'm playing in my room by myself, and I just hear my mom yelling, crying, and I hear this rustling going on. I come out of my room, and I see my mother laying on the couch, covering her face, and she taking blows from someone who is standing above her. And all I could remember doing at the time was screaming and crying because I didn't understand what was going on, but I knew it was bad. And so my mom, of course, was like, just stay away, stay over there, don't come over here, while the man still is like attacking her. And in my 5-year-old brain, I was terrified, but I also wanted to protect my mom. And so all I could do with a 5-year-old body was literally run over to her and put my body over her head. And so eventually the dude stopped. I didn't get hurt, but I remember being that small and feeling so ridiculously helpless, and being angry and confused in a lot of things. And so navigating the next 30 years of my life has been not one that's, I would say, trauma filled, but it has definitely impacted my tolerance, my interactions, my patience, what I can and cannot accept in relationships, sometimes having really rigid boundaries about conflict. And so I was one of those people who was affected in a secondary manner by being in a home that had violence. But thankfully, again, like I said, my mother did not succumb to being a victim of domestic violence. But I just know like what I saw and witnessed hands on, firsthand, and then still remembering that so vividly 30 years later. So that's a little bit of my story about why I feel so passionate about domestic violence. As we grew up, those of us that knew Eve from the Rough Riders, when she first came out, she made that song "Love Is Blind."
Yes,
so, that was a very, very impactful song that, we used to rap it because it had a fly beat to it and it had a good, some good lyrics to it, but it was very deep and intense because she too lost her friends to domestic violence. And that's like the worst outcome to have happen is someone lose their life in that process. And then even within recent years, I have become aware of just people that I've known, like some of my friends, and just seeing in the news and whatnot. And even also at my job, working on the psych unit where people have just been abused, they've been hurt, they've been harmed. And then you see so many murder suicides. It's a lot of stuff going on. And so, like I said, that's really just part of the reason that I felt motivated to talk about this subject. So I'm open to questions, of course. But I just want to say, one, that when you think about domestic violence, I'm going to pose a question to you first, Dominique, and the people in the comments can also, answer this question. But when you think about domestic violence, what typically comes to mind?
Well, for me personally, I think of a lot of things. Physical violence, that's the first thing, because I've seen it myself as well, being a child. But also verbal abuse, financial abuse, mental and emotional abuse, just anything that violates any part of a human's existence within their own home is kind of what I think of. But the first thing I think of is physical violence. So yeah. People in the comments, y'all answer too.
Yeah,
I'm
I've
sure
seen
people have it.
some good things too. Emotional, physical, and verbal violence, mental abuse. So yeah, all those things matter. All those things are correct. There are no wrong answers in regards to your feedback. The reason I asked about like what people tend to think about is because everybody doesn't have the same ideas and or vantage points when it comes to domestic violence. Hurt is a really good one. Hurt is really an impact on the outcome of being abused in any shape, form, or fashion. And so, yeah, when you think about domestic violence, those things come to mind: hitting, slapping, pushing, shoving, um, holding people hostage, physically, emotionally, financial exploitation, sexual abuse, even the verbal, the psychological, the degrading, all the things that you're not, ain't nobody ever going to want you, those kind of things. And so when people think about domestic violence, oftentimes there's like anger at the offender or the perpetrator. And then most times there is empathy for the victim and or victims. But then, in my 13 years of working in social work, and even reflecting on my own mother's experiences, is I've had these thoughts before, just out of a place of not understanding. But I had these thoughts of like the why. Why didn't you leave? Or why did you stay? Or then the one that gets most people is, why did you go back? Yes, and gaslighting is a very, very, very big part of domestic violence, that people just feel like sometimes, well, he didn't hit me, or she didn't hit me, or they didn't hit me. But yeah, I could get over probably some physical stuff, but that emotional stuff, it hit deeper, because that don't necessarily always heal up the right way. So like I said, the idea and the topic of domestic violence is very convoluted and very complicated. There is no one reason that it happens. Ultimately, it all boils down to, it's just never okay. Okay. And so I do agree with this comment in this person in the comment section that's saying it's hard to get people to understand mental and emotional abuse. It's so hard to prove, which indeed it is. It is. So, in my experiences professionally working with women and children who are typically who we kind of tend to think of when we think about domestic violence, even though men are also, likely to be abused, but it's just not as reported, just because of stigma, of course, because there's that gender thing of like, well, how can men be, abused? But it's just as possible for men to become victims of domestic violence as it is for women and children. So nobody is off limits when it comes to this issue.
And someone said that, so that's why I posted it. Malika said that people, like you said, most often we think of women first, then children, is how I think of it. But definitely there have been men that I know of personally that have been affected, like that they have been the victim, and they feel just as scared as the women and children would. But like you said, it's just not as reported, which is sad. Men suffering in silence. Or even same-sex couples. Just, let me tell y'all, some girls can't fight. And it's not good. It's not good. Jennifer might remember I was in a domestic violence situation with a girl when we were in college. It was crazy, man. I was like, why let her hit me like that? But it with how a perpetrator or offender kind of chips away at your mind so slowly, it's like a frog boiling in a pot. Like by the time you realize that you're boiling, it's too late. And it's hard to get out of. It's really hard. But yeah, so men to men, women to men, non-binaries to men and women, trans to, cis, trans, non-binary, man, woman, all can be abused. And very impacted.
So one thing that I have to be mindful of in working with just people, period, is understanding that that ideology that hurt people, It's true, but I also believe in, free will. I also believe in choice. And so, oftentimes I've been telling a lot of my clients lately that, if our circumstances do not necessarily change, then to some degree we have to kind of change, or we have to figure out where we can change. And so, because we may have grown up in an environment that looked, abusive or was abusive, that does not, in my opinion, professionally and personally, does not justify a person repeating those same behaviors and patterns, especially if there is knowledge of right and wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me as a clinician and as a professional social worker, yeah, there are times when it's been hard to work with people who I know have hurt other people, who I know have harmed other people or abused other people. But thankfully there is a boundary that I have to kind of keep in place as well, so that I don't mistreat anybody because of my own experiences and or bias. So we kind of touched on the different types of domestic violence and or abuse. Dominique, in your opinion, and in those in the comments as well, what do you all think is the most prevalent type of abuse? Is it physical, sexual, psychological? Like, what do you think typically is what most people kind of experience? Or is it a combination?
Psychological.
Mm-hmm.
Just because, well, I mean, even without physical, there's a lot of, just even thinking of people I know personally or clients I have or things I've witnessed, I would say, and my anecdotal research is that it's psychological.
Mm-hmm. And I agree. And honestly, the people who are the offenders, and whoever mentioned gaslighting, that is actually a form of psychological manipulation and abuse. But when you think about the psychological, emotional, abuse, I think those who have learned to master their type of abuse, they learn that if I just make you think as the victim that I'm not hitting you, I could be hitting you, but I'm not hitting you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this ain't abuse. So there's this gaslighting thing of like what happens when you confront a person, if you say, I don't like how you talk to me. I don't like when you yell at me. It makes me feel afraid. And that person says, you act like I'm hitting you. I mean, it could be worse. Like, I'm not knocking you to a wall, this, and this, but yeah, that matters.
Mm-hmm.
That matters just as much or worse as if you hit me.
Mm-hmm.
And so I do agree with you that the psychological and the emotional type of abuse typically is the one that's definitely most underreported, because again, like someone said in the comments before, how can I prove that you're doing this to me? How can I prove you're hurting me and tearing me down in a way that you're destroying my self-esteem, you're inflicting or you're contributing to me developing depression and or anxiety?
Mm-hmm.
Like, how can I even prove that? So I do believe that is one of the most prevalent types of abuse. So let me put a question out there to everyone that's viewing. Do you feel as though domestic violence is a habit or like a pattern of behavior, or would you say it's more of like a isolated type of thing where if it happened one time it still counts, or if it happens one time it doesn't count? Like, what do you all feel like constitutes as domestic violence?
I'm gonna let y'all in the comments answer, because of course I keep answering all of them. I want y'all to answer.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I see one person said pattern behavior. Okay.
And Candace, girl, I thought you wanted to come on. I had a whole thing because we are sorority sisters. So I'm gonna still put my jacket on.
See, now why you gotta do all that? You know what? We're talking about a very serious, subject. Well, that's okay, because I see what you're doing here. I think this is a good example of gaslighting. I do, because you need to. You know what? It's okay. I'm gonna put a pin in this, but I'm looking at the I'm looking at the comments. It's okay, I'm gonna get back to you. It's okay. But yeah, I'm seeing a combination of it's a pattern and or it's a one-time thing. And so for those who have any personal experience with domestic violence, and even if you don't, I'm gonna just go ahead and tell you right now, one time counts. One time counts. Yes, you can be in a fit of rage and emotions can get the best of you and you can act out in a way, but one time counts. What I think about is the times that people may have said, oh, well, it was just a push. But what happens when that just a push turns into you catching a corner of a end table and now you have a fracture, now you have a concussion, or now you have split your skull and you're no longer in the land of the living? Like, one time counts.
Mm-hmm.
When I think about domestic violence, I think about it in extremes, to be honest, because I don't think there's any way to minimize or shrink what the impact of violence can be. I don't. And so, no, domestic violence does not always have to end in murder, but domestic violence can also end in suicide. Domestic violence can also end in, like I said, secondary effects of being around abuse and violence, low self-esteem, mental health conditions, people having to be treated with counseling and or psychotropic medications, which I am not opposed to either. But what I am opposed to is the behaviors of other people negatively impacting someone else's life, so much so that they cannot function and live a holistically well life.
Well,
those things.
and that's, somebody said in the comments a little earlier, who was that? I want to put that because that comment was very good. That and that goes right on with what you were mentioning. But they said people with mental illness. Oh, mental illness. Here it is. Mental illness and refusing to take meds. Like, yeah, that's and I tell, and you know, people feel bad because they're like, you know, this person can't help it. Which, yeah, no, they can't. But I liken mental illness to diabetes. Like, that might be something that you have to manage lifelong, but you do have to manage it. You do have to do your part to take care of yourself, whether that's take your insulin or whatever your is it calories or carbs, whatever your carb intake has to be, like, and because it can lead to some serious health effects, you know, that can impact your family and friends, you know. And so, while no, it is not your fault that you have diabetes and or a mental illness, you still do have to manage it because those symptoms can be very abusive to someone else, you know. And so that gets to be touchy, and people don't like to, they feel bad or ashamed that they feel bad about that. But no, like, if you're going to be in a relationship with someone who has been diagnosed with a mental illness, there has to be boundaries as far as them taking care of their treatment, because of the nature of the symptoms can create a very toxic and abusive environment. So no, they do have to take their meds and or be in therapy, whatever their clinical team has implemented for them. They need to keep that in place. There needs to be a boundary.
Yeah, very much so. And the thing that I would like to just add to that is, when I communicate with my clients and or patients at the hospital, I always encourage my patients and clients to think about your mental health just like you would your physical health. So if you broke your arm, you would not literally go home and just say, well, there's a bone sticking out of my arm and that's just the craziest thing ever, and just go to sleep. Like, you'd go see about that. You'd get help, right? And so the same thing has to be done in terms of maintaining your mental health. And so, you know, it's easy sometimes for those who are more empathetic to try to stick and stay through the rough times and tough times, especially depending on the dynamic of the relationship. If it's romantic, if it's marriage, if it's a long-term commitment, if it's just a friend that you have, if it's a situationship and you're not really even sure how to navigate that, like whatever the case may be, it's still ultimately up to the individual who, in this case, may have a mental health condition to properly manage that and seek the proper support. Because oftentimes, many victims of domestic violence feel as though they have to fix it. I've got to fix this. I've got to change my behavior. I've got to change what I say when I speak, what I say, how I say it. I've got to be the one who makes the changes, not the person who is inflicting the abuse. And so the big word that needs to go here is accountability. Accountability. So it's okay to support someone as they're going through their mental health symptom management, but the key word there is management. We've got to manage that, and I can't be your punching bag physically or emotionally or sexually because your mental health is not up to par. Like that's not okay.
Right.
So yeah, and then someone else said, yes, the brain gets sick too. Exactly. Yes. There are so many people who I see even in counseling right now who don't have physical scars of being abused, but I can't tell you how many books that I've purchased myself to be able to learn more and more and more about how to help individuals rebuild or just establish self-esteem, period. And a lot of what I am seeing, the emotional and mental state that a lot of my clients are in who are struggling with self-esteem is of course it's not organic. It didn't just stem out of the womb and they just came into the world not feeling like they were worth anything. It comes from somewhere. It comes from somewhere. And how we're treated matters because it helps us to start thinking about who we really are. And if I was worth something, I would not be treated X, Y, and Z. So maybe if I'm being treated this way, this is what I'm worth. And so some people really start to believe that hype, and it's really unfortunate that it happens, but it's true. We're sponges. We soak up everything around us. And if the feedback that we're getting from the people that we think we love and feel closest to are reiterating how much we are nothing, how low we are, how little we are, how small we are, how grateful we should be for the kind of love and appreciation and attention that they give us, you start to believe that.
Yep.
I start to believe it. And it can also create codependency, which is a whole another beast within itself.
Somebody said in the comments that they didn't even know they were being emotionally abused. It took them going to therapists to get to that point. And that's a lot of people like that don't even, again, going back to the frog and the pot scenario, a lot of times people don't know or don't know that they've been abused or traumatized in their home domestically. And that could be, by a partner, it could be by a sibling, it could be by a parent, it could be just, and I don't want to say just, but it could be witnessing, because that isn't a score on the ACEs, the adverse childhood experience assessment. Even just witnessing someone being abused in any of those ways is traumatic. So I'm glad for mentioned the person being affected by witnessing, seeing that happen to a loved one. And so, and a lot of people, because like you said, the topic's just not talked about enough and people's understanding of it is so limited that they don't even know that they have been abused or endured trauma vicariously, even by someone in their household that was being abused or abusive. So, yep.
So what I want to do is just give a little bit of information in terms of like the statistics piece of it, okay?
Yes.
The website that I am on is the National Domestic Violence website. And so I can definitely leave that in the comment section. But basically some of the stats say this, because I won't read out them because it's a lot of them, okay? What this says is, on average, nearly 20 people per minute are physically abused by an intimate partner in the United States. During 1 year, this equates to more than 10 million women and men. Okay. 1 in 4 women and 1 in 9 men experience severe intimate partner physical violence, intimate partner contact sexual violence, and or intimate partner stalking, which impacts such as injury, fearfulness, post-traumatic stress disorder, use of victim services, and contraction of sexually transmitted diseases. And so that was the stalking was one of the other types of domestic violence that I didn't touch on, but it does teeter into the emotional, psychological abuse and also the physical abuse. And so I know a lot of people actually who have, sometimes we jokingly say, oh, I stalked so I was in so-and-so bushes, or you know what, girl, this man was outside my job. This so crazy. Or he left a note on my windshield, or like he popped up when I was out to eat dinner with my girlfriends. And I told him that we're over. I don't even know like what's happening. And it's like, that's not okay and it's not cute. So I think we need to be mindful to not glamorize some of those unhealthy, toxic behaviors. I just saw a TikTok video that somebody recorded in Walmart, of course, because Target would never. I'm just kidding. But they did a TikTok recording in Walmart, and basically a guy was in there with another woman, basket full of groceries, and the girl just walked up beside him, had her toilet tissue and something else in her hand, and she was kind of out of his eye shot, and basically walked up to him, started going out, following him around the store, cursing him out, hitting him, punching him, pushing him. I mean, and it was just the craziest thing. And the dude was just kind of like laughing it off, and people were just sitting there like looking, and I'm like, why is this okay? Like, on what planet is this okay? Because like, no, where the police? What's somebody to help with this? Because like when this go outside, then what happens? When she pop up at this man's house or at this woman's house, then what happens? Because domestic violence is not always just person to person. It could literally be, example, man tries to leave woman, move on about his life, and the woman ain't through with the man. She can't let go. So now she's at some other woman's house, cutting the book, cutting the food, and now another person is hurt because of someone else's actions. Like, domestic violence run deep. It run deep. It's not a surface level type of issue. It's very multifaceted.
Yeah, and dangerous. And when you said earlier, do we think it's a one-time thing? I definitely think it's a one-time thing, but I did think about that cycle of abuse as far as the pattern portion of it goes, where there is the idealization, where they love bomb you to get you to come back. So that might look like, putting it very simply so everybody can get a full picture, just like, and again, hitting is not the only type of domestic violence, but I'm using it to make the example clearer. So they hit you, that pushes you away to where you try to leave or threaten to leave or whatever. And they love bomb you, and once you get back in there, they may hoover you, which is put out little breadcrumbs, and that's more of like a narcissistic tactic. But then the love bombing, and then once they get you back in their grasp, then it's devalue again, and then this cycle. And there's more specific stages of that, but in general, it's like this push and pull, which also throws people off kilter, throws victims off kilter, because they're like, well, do they love me? Even the love portion is a manipulate part of abuse and part of a manipulation tactic. Because someone who loves you does not want to intentionally harm you. They do not. And if they know that they have something going on with them psychologically that could cause them to harm you, if they want to be in a position to love someone else, they'll love themselves first and get their self-help. But on top of that, they're going to love you enough to stay getting their help because they don't want to hurt you.
Right.
So even the good times with an abuser is still part of manipulation. It's just the more comfortable part for of the manipulation, but know that that does not mean that they're any less abusive. Know that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So when you talk about the cycle of violence, I want to just kind of touch on that as well. So typically, the first phase of domestic violence is, from what the researchers have pulled together, is what's called the tension building. Okay, the tension building, and so what this typically can look like is the person who is the aggressor can become argumentative, angry, they cursing, criticism, swearing, angry gestures. So, it could be jumping up in somebody's face, punching a wall, just kind of wilding out. Okay. Now, the article that I'm looking at right now just says that sometimes the offender will use coercion or threats or minor fights to be occur. So it's kind of like a building. It just says tension building. So it could be just we had a little spat on Monday. Then Tuesday we were to talk, and then you try to work things out on Wednesday, and then it was still something. And then Thursday you kind of may say, well, I'll just keep to myself because maybe so just kind of tripping and having a rough week or something. And so then say we get to Friday and nothing's better, but nothing's happened, and then one small thing may happen, and then boom, now we're into that phase two, which is now we're having a violent moment. Okay, we're having what the article would call the explosion. Okay, we live. Okay, so what the article says is, as this tension builds, okay, and it doesn't have to be a series of days, it could be moments. Okay, but as the tension builds, violence in certain people in certain situations can get really, really high. The likelihood can get really, really high. And so during this time, this is when a major act of violence occurs, and it could be physical and or sexual attack, threats to harm, as well as verbal abuse. And it's in this phase that injury is most likely to occur, and that if necessary, sometimes the police may come. They may be called. You just never know. Okay. So though that explosion phase, that that looks a whole lot different depending on the situation, but nevertheless, more than likely, it's some things that occur that can't be taken back. Words are said that of course cannot be taken back. Some type of, like the article says, some type of injury, some type of hurt has been involved. And nowadays, unfortunately, you're fortunate if the police can come to the home and both parties are still alive. Because now I'm seeing, like I said, in the past few years, I've seen so much in the news about people, I haven't seen so and so for so many days, and they go to the home and find multiple people dead, or the police did make it to the home the night of the incident and it was still too late, that kind of thing. And so like I said, the cycle of violence goes from the tension building to the actual set of violence. And then once the explosion tends to happen, even if you kind of visualize an explosion, the explosion does not stay big the entire, like for an extended period of time. At some point, the explosion dies down. Okay. Mm-hmm. In some shape, form, or fashion, the abuser is calming down. They snapped out of it. They like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this happened. Or it's like, wait, somebody's come, some attention has been drawn. I went too far, or there's a threat of this person trying to leave me because I said or did X, Y, and Z. Oftentimes, what you do not see is that the abuser has awareness. Typically, the abuser will operate out of a space of fear, which then, of course, just perpetuates manipulation. And this is how we get into the third phase of violence, which is the honeymoon phase. Mm-hmm. The honeymoon phase. This is, again, like somebody put in the comments before, the tokens of love, the sweet nothings, I sent flowers to your job. I bought you a brand new purse. I cooked, I cleaned the house. I took care of the kids. I wanted you to, get some time away from the kids and it just be me and you. Let's just kind of take things back to how they were when we first got together. You know me, that minimizing the behavior. Well, I didn't mean it. I don't even ever do anything like that. Those kind of things. Mm-hmm. In the honeymoon period, you get a lot of promises. I'll never do that again. I don't know what came over me. Words may be spoken like, I'm sorry, and I never meant to hurt you. I promise I'll change. I promise I'll get help.
Mm-hmm.
Or then sometimes they project, but I only did it because I was drunk. I was high.
Mm-hmm.
I was under stress. I lost my temper. It's always a reason why it happened, but it's never like I'm really needing to get some help for myself because I really am not. I need to be responsible for my actions and my behaviors, and I recognize that I hurt you in some shape, form, or fashion. I took advantage of whatever the case may be. And so again, some people will say abusers tend to be narcissistic, and not all of them are. Domestic violence and abusing someone is not a personality disorder.
Mm-hmm.
Narcissism is. But being an abuser does not fall in that category.
Yeah.
Now, if a person says, well, I have anger issues, well, how does your issues, why do they have to physically, emotionally, or financially, affect me? If you have anger issues, it seems like the opposite word there would be you. Maybe you need to get some help. But you can't take that out on me because how's that okay? Because this is not our anger.
Right.
You came from a hurt and, maybe damaged or, crazy kind of background. You came from there.
Right.
We didn't come from there together. I didn't make your environment crazy.
Right.
And so one thing that I really want to make sure that I press home today is that it is never okay for anyone to hurt someone else. It's just not. Unless this is self-defense. But other than that, we really just do not have the right to tear down and or physically or any kind of way hurt or harm anyone else. We don't have the right to do that.
At all.
And so one I want to speak to, again, one of the primary questions that tends to come up, the why didn't you leave? When we ask those questions, even if it's out of a place of like concern, even if it's out of a place of frustration, we have to be careful with using that language because the truth of the matter is when we start to ask the victim those why questions, they seem accusatory. It seems like you're being blamed for the abuse that was inflicted upon you. And just like sometimes abusers can say, I just did it because this is what I grew up seeing, sometimes we can be groomed into thinking certain things are okay. And we can also sometimes operate from a space of optimism that I really do want to believe that things will get better, that this will not happen again. That, okay, it wasn't that bad. And so a lot of times we tend to hide what happened to us for work. So we don't tell anybody because we don't want to deal with the shame. Because then there comes those questions. Well, why did you stay? Why did you go back? Why didn't you call the police? Versus people maybe going to the abuser and saying, hey, why did you hurt this person? What are you doing? What's going on in your life that makes you think it's okay to do what you've been doing? And so I completely agree. Samika Parker says that the abused help make excuses for the abusers. It happens, it's common, and it's understandable. It is because it's almost, and I don't want to like label people, but it's almost like the victims who, and there's a syndrome for it, but I can't think of it. But I don't think it always is that heavy and intense. But there are people who literally yes, there we go. And
or trauma bonding.
Both, yeah. One or the other. But yeah, I definitely think it's a common thing that those who have been abused tend to shield and or cover for those who have inflicted violence or abuse among them. And it may be for a number of reasons. It may be, of course, self-esteem issues, not knowing what their self-worth is, trying to give this person a chance to get it right, trying to love this person through what they're going through. Sometimes we become martyrs for people. We don't know how much we're sacrificing and putting on the line by trying to give someone else another chance to get it right. And sometimes those of us, like I said, who have strong empathy, we tend to feel like we can heal and help other people almost to our detriment. But what that indicates to me as a therapist is that some of us don't have boundaries. We don't have good boundaries. If we have that ideology that if I stick close to you, I can help you change. But change is individual. Change is intentional. People don't change by mistake. People don't change by mistake. And so we have to be mindful that there are stages to change. And so just because a person promises, I will never do that to you again, well, I think we need to explore, or maybe you need to explore as the abuser, what led you to act this way. What led you to act this way? So now I'm kind of looking back through the comments. It's like the abuser is kind of brainwashing the victim at the time. It happens. Yeah, that's part of the emotional abuse. It's not always name calling. It's the gaslighting. It's the minimizing. It's the sweet nothings. And it is sometimes that narcissistic behavior. You know, that kind of Ike and Tina type thing where he's abusive, but then he's sweet at times. She's getting some kind of benefit out of the attachment to him. Notoriety, praise, adoration. But on the same token, being horribly abused in just about every way you can think of.
Yeah. And for those, someone asked earlier how you can get help. Definitely, I know Jennifer will probably provide additional resources, but we are a counseling practice. We do therapy and counseling. So if you or a friend need this number to reach out to us for help navigating in a situation that you might be in, or a friend might be in, or a situation you've witnessed that's impacted you, you can text the word new down here. We have a group of therapists ranging in all levels to assist you. So if you need help, or if you know someone who needs help, then definitely text the word new to this number. We can get you set up with one of our therapists on staff. And also, please share this live if you have not already shared it to your timelines, to your groups, because there's someone that needed this information, and this may be the only way that they can get it. So please help us in our effort just to support victims of domestic violence, witnesses of domestic violence, and share this live so they can get that information and support and help that they may need.
One thing that I did want to look at in the comments is from Ashley. She says that religion has also kept a lot of people in harmful relationships. And oh my gosh,
that is a whole layer.
Listen, how much time do we have today?
Right, that's a whole. We need to do a whole nother live, because
you need like part 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6.
Right.
Because again, this is why I talked about earlier in this live, that domestic violence is so multifaceted. It's so many pieces and components that make this whole idea and this whole issue up. And so, yes, Ashley, I completely agree. I completely and wholeheartedly agree. As a person in the faith community, I identify as a Christian, and I cannot even imagine how many people are sitting in churches, in places of worship, filled with faith, filled with love for their higher power, and then still being subjected to abuse in whatever shape, form, or fashion is occurring in, all because they have this tie to the belief that if this person did not cheat on you, you can't leave. Because abuse is okay, but adultery and being cheated on, that's like, oh no, I can't stay with you beyond that. Like, I don't think that that's fair. And so many people are held hostage because of religious beliefs and religious teachings, and even religious counsel, when people may have gone to pastors or ministers and tried to kind of, talk things out in a safe space, or what they thought was a safe space, sometimes forgetting that these very people that we go to church with are not gods. They are people too, with their own history, their own issues, and their own, background of things that you have no clue about. And so sometimes people in the body of faith and whatnot have gone to ministers and gone to churches seeking counsel, seeking ways to just kind of figure out, what am I supposed to do with what's happening to me? Some of the very people that they sought counsel from are abusers. And if some of the, hypothetically, if women hypothetically have gone to like first ladies in some of the churches or female ministers just to kind of talk, sometimes they're not even recognizing and knowing like an abused person, a victim, is talking to another victim. And so maybe she's just trying to communicate with another person, like, this is how I stay. This is what's been working with me. And so sometimes those are sometimes some of the barriers and obstacles that occur when trying to navigate faith and also trying to navigate, how to heal and get away from or sever ties with someone who is hurting and harming you and or your children, or just those around or attached to you. And then Ashley also said how to speak or be there for those who aren't ready. That's hard, Ashley. That's hard to try to figure out how to speak or be there for those who aren't ready to see what you're saying. When we have a different vantage point, when we're not in the thick of it with people and what their situation is, it's very difficult to be able to sometimes tell them the truth and give them that truth. And say, hey, so and so, I'm concerned about such and such. I don't really care for how so and so is talking to you. And so honestly, I don't have a remedy, a perfect solution, band-aid type thing to even, touch that particular area of concern. All I can say is as safe as you can, I would just try to be present for whomever may be going through whatever they may be going through, because it's always a little bit of a touchy thing when you're trying to talk to the victim or a potential victim about things that may be building. So because people from the outside may recognize the tension building, or as you're just kind of having chit chat with your friends or talking to your loved one about certain things, there may be some red flags and some signals and sirens going off for us as the hearer, but actually living in it, it's like, well, okay, well, I feel better since I talked about it, and I can go back home in that same situation. Nothing changed, but I feel lighter because I got it off my chest. And so another thing to keep in mind is that even as a bystander, and by bystander, I don't mean you present when something's happening. I'm just saying like somebody who's getting firsthand information from a secondhand standpoint. Mm-hmm. My thing is be careful with that as well. Be careful with that as well. My aunt told me a story about a client that she had when she was working at the health department, a coworker she had rather, when she was working at the health department several years ago. And that coworker went to, I think, their sister or cousin's house to pick her up because she said, hey, this man beating on me, I've had enough. And as the person got ready to leave, the co-worker's relative got ready to leave and get in their car, they were helping the little one pack up their things. Husband shot out of the house with the gun. Shot my auntie's co-worker and killed her. And the person who was calling for help or called for the co-worker to come to them, they survived. But even that is just another layer of why domestic violence is so deadly. It's so convoluted, because it's like, how do you even help someone?
And two, and that may be because, again, like Jennifer said, that's real touchy. So even just the emotional distress that could come with trying to figure out how to help a loved one, that's also something that's valid to seek a therapist for, to help you navigate that situation, because everybody's situations and connections are different. So you really want somebody on an ongoing basis that can help you navigate what does this look like as far as your relationship with that loved one is concerned, and how do you keep yourself safe while trying to support them, and having yourself somewhere with someone that can advocate for and help you maintain your health in it, because that can affect your own mental health as well. Mm-hmm. So definitely, again, we're a group practice. If you need us, if you're any part of being involved in a domestic violence situation, from victim to bystander to, just knowing about it in any way or seeing it, definitely reach out so that we can get you connected with someone on our team to help. with that. And again, just text the word new to the number below.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. So this has been great. Thank you so much, Jennifer.
Of
This has
course.
been really, really great. Are we missing anything? Do you have any other like more general resources besides, of course, I mean, we're a therapy practice and people can come to us, but like any other place where people can go as far as like websites and stuff to get information?
Yes. So before I get to that, I do want to acknowledge Tamika, who says, who counsels the counselor when they're going through?
Oh, yep.
Who counsels the counselor when they are going through? If you're meaning in a literal, like professional sense, like the counselor, the hope, of course, is that we as the clinicians and or professionals would be in a space that we, if we don't have the pocket experience or knowledge to be like, this ain't right. Ideally, the professional skills and training that we have, my hope is that, you know, every helper needs help. And so I hope that we are operating in that kind of capacity and that knowledge. And I'll even say for myself, when I first started doing therapy services formerly with Yellowbird, I had a therapist. And then for some reason, I didn't have a therapist. And I went several months without, you know, having that additional support that I needed as I've been navigating working two jobs and just living life, because life is not easy by any means. And so you know what, I got to a point even with talking to Dominique, and I was like, I can't keep living like this without a therapist. So I recognize my own need to have a therapist. And so I have found another therapist, and I have an appointment next week, actually at 2:00, and I'm very excited. But Tamika, I think that you bring up a very, very, very good point. Helpers need help. Counselors need counselors. And even when we're in our counseling spaces as a provider, my job in a professional manner is not to transfer my trauma and my personal experiences onto my clients. So when I go to talk to another counselor as a counselor, I need to have a safe space to be able to function and operate and kind of decompress and process my own things so that I can be in the healthiest state that I can be to give the, you know, the best services that I can. And so what I want to do before we kind of wind down today is I do want to give some information out in terms of resources. Now, I don't know if everyone who is watching is in the Alabama area, but I do want to say there are local entities within the state of Alabama that can be of assistance. If people need shelter, if people just need a private, safe place to get away to. You have locally in Birmingham, you have the YWCA. In other areas and other counties, you have Safe House. You have other places throughout the state of Alabama, and also outside of, you know, the state of Alabama. A number that I would like to give is the National Domestic Violence Hotline. If you don't know where to find shelter at or resources at, this place is really in tune with resources all over the country. All over the country. And so that number is 1-800-799-7233. Again, that number is 1-800-799-7233. Or you can text the word START, START, to 88788. Again, you can text the word START, START, to 88788 to get connected that way if necessary. And then I guess before I get off of here, does anybody else have any other questions or anything? Because I think that's all I got on my end.
Thank you. Yeah, and Tamika and Nicolette put the number in the comments. So the very last comments, for those of you that maybe didn't catch it, you're welcome, Malika. And yes, it's always good when Jennifer comes on. It's always gonna be good.
Thank you.
Does a good job. But yeah, do y'all have any other questions for Jennifer before I let her go? Mr. Carter. Oh, Lord.
Well, I will say that I have very much enjoyed myself. Thank you for everyone who, attended and, gave me an ear to speak. And again, I am very much one who is pro education. So I think the more information we have about certain topics, we can make better sound decisions. If you know of anyone, or even if you are a person who is going through any type of abuse or violence, leaving is a kind of a dangerous thing, and it can be for certain people.
Mm-hmm.
And so I with that being understood, I don't have a clear cut, way to say this is how you leave, but I always will just encourage exercising caution. And basically utilizing sometimes the resources and services that are not attached to a relative, because sometimes people know how to kind of get to you through relatives. And so sometimes those community resources are even better to go to instead of trying to, get with someone that we know. And so, the services are there. The government provides a good amount of funding for those services. Something that we didn't get a chance to kind of touch on today was the legality behind domestic violence and the laws that are definitely still very, very flawed.
Mm-hmm.
And while there's a lot of money that goes towards domestic violence services and whatnot, the laws are still not in place to my liking for the people who are victimized.
Right.
There's still a lot of leniency and dismissiveness towards this topic. But again, I could say we could talk about this for days on end. This could be a conference in itself. So I just again appreciate everyone who allowed me to have this platform and to just share the information that I did share. Thank you for allowing me to be transparent this evening. And I really just enjoyed the feedback and the comments, and I feel like a young person now because I know how to be on a computer and also look at my phone.
Don't say young person like you're so old.
Listen, but I do. So I want to take the pen out because now I need to talk to you about how you got your makeup and your eyelashes done and then your hair done. And then you flexing and put your Zeta jacket on, which I don't think is fair because if I had known it was gonna be a sorority thing, I mean I literally would have took my red hair down out of this ponytail and then put on some eyeliner and some mascara and some big Delta hoops or something, put my Delta t-shirt on and or my jacket or some kind of paraphernalia. I mean I would have done something, and I just feel slighted and cheated.
No,
because you gave a shout out to your sorority, and I just want to say happy Thursday to all the beautiful ladies of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated and to my sorority sisters of Gamma Phi Delta Sorority Incorporated, because this lady of Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated just got me together and I do not appreciate it.
No, that ain't even what had happened. What had happened was she had texted me, Candace, and I thought she was coming on and they were doing it as a sorority chapter. And I didn't even, a birdie told me, she didn't even tell me what sorority she was in. A birdie told me. Oh, and I found out last minute. And I was like,
oh. So y'all was finna jump me because you was going to have two Zetas on. Okay.
We was not going to jump you. I love you, Jennifer. We're not jumping nobody.
Okay. I understand. It won't happen again. I'll be ready.
Now she going, come on.
It's okay. I see the AKAs in the comments as well. Yeah, I see she tried to jump me today, but it's not going to happen. No.
It was, no.
All is well.
I love all of my brothers and sisters in the Divine Nine.
Likewise.
I love them. We're covered actually at Yellowbird. We're pretty covered up in AKAs. Well, I say that we got 2 AKAs, but that's still 2. So we do. And I have a lot of AKA clients. So, and a Delta is actually who told me that there was that the chapter was Zeta Phi Beta. I did not see. They didn't even tell me, and I was like, "Ooh, So that's all that was. That's it. That's all.
I'm gonna be ready next time. I'm gonna be ready to stroll. I'm gonna just you just gonna be.
We gonna have. You know what? And I'm gonna play back that thing up just for you on the next one.
Okay, I'm gonna be ready
to get that in, and you invite everybody from wherever, and I'm just gonna let you stroll.
It's okay. I understand.
I'm gonna do that, and I want to see it.
Okay.
But I definitely appreciate you so much, Jennifer, for coming on and providing us with a wealth of information like you always do. And I think the viewers got everything they needed, or at least a good start to what direction they should probably go in next. And so I appreciate that. That's what it's all about.
Well, thank you so much again for having me. I really enjoyed myself. And I just want to just tell everybody that you really are a great leader. And I really appreciate the work that you do with, your clinicians, and just for the opportunities that you provide to us, and just how supportive you are and how gracious you are. So I do want to just give you a shout out for that as well.
Thank you. Y'all, Jennifer is so heartwarming. She's always been like that too. So yes, no, and I thank y'all. I thank y'all for your patience, your flexibility, your all of it, your work with the clients, just all of it. So you keep up the good work.
I appreciate it. I do. I appreciate it.
I'm gonna let you get to your husband. He's supporting, man. We see him. I love it. Come on, he is so supportive.
Hi, James.
But yes, so definitely we'll catch you next time. And thank you so much again, Jennifer.
I enjoyed you. Y'all have a great evening and a great rest of your week.
You too.
Bye.
Bye. All right, guys, I did not forget. I know what I said. I know what I said. I said what I said, okay, in the text community. All right. So let me explain something to you. One of the reasons that I said what I said is because I think I may have told y'all last week that my cousin is getting married in Greece, and I love my cousin to death, and I have to go. And so I'll actually be leaving Wednesday and coming back the following Wednesday. Thursday-ish. So there is a chance that y'all gonna be watching some reruns, okay? It was unexpected. What happened was I had accidentally texted the wrong digit of my address to my cousin. She sent my invitation to my neighbors back in December. They did not try to give me the invitation. They did not try to return it to sender. Like, if you get somebody in the mail, send it back, or give it to your neighbor. You don't know who it goes to. Send it back to the sender so that person cannot feel like they didn't get invited to whoever's wedding that matters to them. So needless to say, I had to plan a last minute trip and go. So I will be there, and Greece is 8 hours ahead of the US. So may be watching some reruns. Sorry about that. You can thank my neighbors. You can also thank me for typing the wrong number in the text almost a year ago. Oh, Lord Jesus. All right. So with that being said, tonight is a very special evening. And I wanted to do something to compensate for the fact that I may or may not be available for the next Thursday or so. So if you know, you know. And if you don't know, you don't know. But thank you. Thank you. After Jaleesa, this is it. I see Jaleesa, and after that, it don't nobody else can't type after Jaleesa. Because tonight, guess what, is a $200 Cash App giveaway. 200. Nobody after Jaleesa. Because if you knew, you knew. So if you want to know, you can join our text community by hey, dogs. Sorry, dogs are acting up. And this is real time. Mr. Carter, namely. You can text this number to become a new client and you'll be in our text community. Also, you can text this number to be in our text community as well, so you'll know when we do our Cash App giveaways. And 2, you can go to yellowbirdcounseling.com. Again, that is yellowbirdcounseling.com. And you can subscribe to our newsletter so you'll know each month when we do our giveaways, because only the text community and only the people on our newsletter know when we do our giveaways. Okay. And so that's just that on that. I don't even know if tonight was the scheduled giveaway, but I had made a decision since I was like, oh, snap, I might not be live for real, for the next couple Thursdays. And I may or may not. I'm just preparing y'all. So in the event that I'm not, I wanted to go big tonight on the night that I will be here. And so that's why I wanted to do a $200 Cash App giveaway. Awesome. And literally just put on some face because my 6:30 canceled. And I was like, well, let me just put on some face with my new hair. That's all. And it just kind of, everything was coincidental. And then, of course, this great Letterman that I got from the real Watkins. Great Letterman. And hello, all the ladies of Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated. We're all in here, all right? We're deep off in here. All right. So, thank you. Thank y'all. Y'all are nice. Y'all are some great people. Y'all really are. And 2, please share this live for, again, someone on your timeline that may not have gotten, that may need this help, whether they are a victim of domestic violence, whether they are a witness of a victim, whether they're a bystander actually witnessing the violence, or whether they're a bystander because they just know about the violence. Please share this because victims, bystanders, abusers, everybody in this situation would definitely benefit from having therapy, having support. And the abuser more so if they want to stop, if they sincerely want to stop abusing. And they'll show that by sincerely seeking out help. Yes. And not blaming the victim. So, but definitely all the victims and bystanders need help. All right. So, y'all, let me get a pen. Because y'all deep up in here, you know what I'm saying? So let me get a pen so I don't miss nobody. Get a pen. Oh, some paper. Pen and paper. I was so concerned about my makeup. I didn't have my supplies. See there? All right. So I'm going to give everybody a number. And again, nobody after Jaleesa. Jaleesa was the last person. Mr. Carter. Whew, Lord. Who want to babysit? Who want a new dog? I'll give you the new dog for free. I'll actually send him with food and all of his doggy belongings. Okay? All right. So, let me go up. Thank y'all. Y'all know I don't really do makeup a whole lot. I just have been. Yeah, they do. The dogs do what they want, and that's just that on that. So I'm going to give everybody a number. Keep up with your number. Ooh, Sushi. Sushi's so cute. Sushi's so cute. Yeah, Sushi might get tired of Mr. Carter, actually. What, Mr. Carter? Okay. Let's see. All right, so Jaleesa is 1. Jaleesa is 1. Keep up with your number. Hey, Soror. Zetas do love Jennifer. Absolutely, we do. Oh, wait. Let's see. Uh-oh, AKs is deep up in here. All right. Get the next one. Uh-oh, Zeta represent. All right. D9 sisterly love. I love it. I love it. Love it. I love it. I think she is. You know, I love all my therapists. I think they're the best. I wouldn't have hired them if I didn't think they were the best. Even the interns are the best because I tend to hire the best for the most part. Let's see. All right, I know I saw more than Jaleesa. Y'all just been in these comments. That's all. All right, Tanya is number 2. Man, I'm gonna have to scroll to the top and scroll down. It's getting, y'all is still in the comments. Y'all, hey, hold off on the comments for a second and give me hearts and just so I can count real quick. But hearts and thumbs up and stuff like that for a second while I count. Ooh. All right, Latoya Clark is 3. Jasmine Austin is 4. Carmen Marbury is 5. Kayla Jordan is 6. Oh, that's Kayla. Hey, Kayla. Kayla's a therapist at Gilbert. Regeneration Praises is 7. Oh, thanks, Daniel. Nicolette is 8. Danielle Robinson is 9. Marlicia is 10. Malika is 11. Dap Brownie is 12. Tanea Keller is 13. Tavares Johnson is 14. Evelyn McGrew is 15. Kay Candles is 16. Tina Betts is 17. Sharon Gray is 18. Amara Samuel is 19. Tierra Williams is 20. Ooh, y'all deep. April Dortch is 21. Lakira is 22. And then I gave Carmen. Carmen was 2, I believe. Yeah. Candace, I didn't give you 1. Carmen and Tanya, Allen, I believe I gave 1 to. If not, those are the only 2 that can say something right now. Candace, Candace is 23. Viteria Ellis is 24. Steph Patrice is 25. I think I'm getting to the bottom now. Yep. I gave Pat 1, I think. Pat, you can also comment if I didn't give you 1, but I think I did. Just the 3 people I said. Woo. Okay, Ranisha, I didn't give you 1. 10, 15, 20, 25. Ranisha is 26. Ashley Geneva is 27. Woo. Okay. TQ Hallmark 28. 28 to TQ Hallmark. I think that might be everybody. Let me see. I think once I see Jaleesa again, I'll know. Okay, Evelyn Rogers. I did not get you. I know I didn't. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. You're 29. Evelyn Rogers, you're 29. Tomika Parker, you're 30. Tanya Kenyon, you're 31. Got you, Tanya Betts. Okay. Marquinta Barnett, I did not get you. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. You're 32. I did get Edwina Robertson. You are 33. Mercy Freeman. You are 34. Okay, I'm on 34. All right. I think I got everybody else. I'm still scrolling. Once I get to Jaleesa, I'll know. I'll know once I get to Jaleesa. And I'm almost to the bottom. Let's see. There goes Jaleesa. But not her cash app. When I see her Cash App, I'll know. Y'all was, yep, there goes Jaleesa. Okay. Yep. Now let me scroll all the way to the bottom. All right. Cool. Renisha, I thought I gave you a number. Jasmine Austin, I did give you a number. I remember saying your name. And Renisha, I did give you one. Or Rashida, I'm sorry. Did I not? Rashida, I did give you one. And Jasmine, I thought I did give you one. Ooh, I have 3 Tanyas. Did all 3 Tanyas? Pat Wilson didn't get a number. Okay, she gave Jasmine a number. Pat Williams didn't get a number. Okay, well, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. 31, 30. Pat Williams, you're 35, okay? I don't know what I said. I don't know. There's 35 people. I didn't write their name down. I just wrote the numbers so I knew how many numbers to put on there. I can't remember what I gave you. So here I counted 2 people at the bottom and then I started going to the top. So you may have to count the last, well, actually 3 people at the bottom and then I went to the top, I think. But if a number gets called out that someone doesn't have, then we'll see how to handle it then. But yes, it's been a lot of people. I used to could keep up with them, but y'all been deep for a minute now, so I'll have to figure out another way. But right now I'm just bootlegging it and tallying everybody and letting you keep up with your number, so that way I can just keep up with how many people have a number. So Pat, I gave you 35, and who else didn't get a number? Only if you didn't get a number after, like before Jaleesa. If you, I may need, yeah, that might be good. Okay, I said, ooh, there were 3 Tanyas. The other Tanyas, tell us what your number are. So I can make sure. I tried to call out first and last names, but Tanya Morris, I gave you a number. I remember. Well, I gave Tanya Bett, and Tanya Morris a number. I remember, and that's why I started count. Actually, that's why I started saying last names. Rashida, I did give you a number. Okay, Tanya is number 2. Tanya Morris was 2. Okay. I did give you a number. Well, let's spin it and see what happens, okay? And if we need to make an adjustment, we will, and I'll try to figure out a better system before next time. I think, but there's a Tina Betts too, isn't it? Ooh, I hate to start over, but yep, there's Tina Betts. There's and Tina. I appreciate it. Let's just spin and see what happens, okay, guys? Let's just spin and see what happens. Let's just see. And then if it's an issue, then Well, it's only 25 people in here right now, so some people that got a number ain't even in here. So let's just see. Okay, let's just see. Because you guys also have to be present to win. You can't like put your number in and then like leave and or and then because whatever I spin and whoever is here is who's eligible. All right, so let me share my screen. So y'all can see me do it. Share screen. Tab. All right, new. All right, cool. All right. Random number wheel generator. There we go. All right. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. 35. So the minimum is 1. And the maximum is 35. So let's spin it and see what happens, guys. All right. All right, there. It's 11. Aha. Who's 11? Who is 11? Okay, so 11 is a person who knew what their number is, so we didn't even have to worry about it because 11 won, and it's Malika. Malika Cole. Yay! Yay! Everybody tell her congratulations. Congratulations. Yeah, they probably are asleep. We haven't been on here for almost 2 hours. Congratulations, y'all. Give her some hearts. Give her some hearts. Give her some hearts. And Malika, put your Cash App again in the comments so I don't got to scroll all around and try to find it. Yeah, you got it, girl. Ah! I'm screaming with you. I'm happy. I'm happy you got it. I am. Let me see. Let me put your Cash App back down there so I can send it to you right now. Right now. Okay. Where is it? Yay! Where your Cash App at, Malika? Oh, yay! Oh. Well, that's good. I'm glad that yellow bird could help out with that. Cool. It's okay. There it is. There's her Cash App. She said her daughter's turning 17, so it's gonna go for her birthday. Aw, I love that. It's perfect. I started doing these Cash App giveaways when COVID first started because everything just seemed so hopeless and helpless. And I was like, I always said the one thing I would do is if I ever got to a place where I had excess, that I would want to help other people. So congratulations from Yellowbird Counseling. Yay. Perfect. I'm sending it to you right now so you can get it, and I'm going to show it to everybody when it goes through so they know I'm not capping. There you go. It got sent. She got it. Tell them you got it. Tell them you got it. Yay. Perfect. That's perfect. I love that. I absolutely love that. Love it. Love it. Love it. All right. She won. All right, guys. Good. She just got it. See there? See there? See there? Ain't no cap. You know what I'm saying? If I say I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. You know what I'm saying? But yes, I enjoyed y'all. And again, we'll see. Stay tuned. But definitely follow the page so you'll know when we go live. Definitely text community if you need our help or if you just want to be in the community, or yellowbirdcounseling.com to be on our newsletter. And so you'll be in the know about all things practice related that we do, because we do host events, we do host groups, we do a lot. So definitely, if you want to be in the know with all the mental health efforts that we do, you'll want to be on the newsletter, because you'll know everything. and then the text community if you want to be a client or follower in the community, but definitely this number if you need our assistance, and text and give this number to people that that need help. Just tell them, text the word new. But I will see y'all soon. I'm gonna miss y'all while I'm gone, but I will be back, and so excited to work with y'all, talk to y'all, teach y'all, help break the stigma with y'all very, very soon. So y'all have a good evening and be safe. Bye.